Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio, let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon, and you're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Now?
Yes.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio, the Owl Show. It is your girl, Chanel, and normally you guys know I am always here with my partner, Miss Queen B, but Miss Queen B is traveling the world right now as we speak. So it is just me. You're just getting Chanel tonight, everybody. So hopefully you'll enjoy yourself. We do have an amazing guest who is going to be live with us tonight. That is Dr. Cheryl Hardy. Dr. Cheryl Hardy will be in the Zoom with us tonight for our virtual program. But until then, she's going to come on in a few minutes. But until then, you guys are stuck with just me. So first and foremost, I just want to know, how is everybody doing? You guys can talk to me in the chat. I am here. I will respond with whatever it is that you guys wanted to talk about until we get into our topic for the evening. But I want to know how everybody's doing. You know, we are almost a year into COVID. I don't know if you all remember. We started first hearing about this weird strain of flu and people being sick overseas. And we started seeing some people actually wearing masks as early as last February. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but all of a sudden, everything was in disarray. You started hearing more about COVID-19 on the news, even though our 45 at the time kept saying, oh, you know, it's nothing serious, we'll have it under control. But it was starting to become more of the talk, more buzz was going around. So it's almost a year later. Because at this time, there were people who were in the United States, and even though it wasn't reported, there were people in the United States that had already had COVID and had already been sick already, not knowing what it was. Were you one of those people? I'm going to be honest with you. I honestly think that I might have been one of those people. I remember getting very, very sick the end of March and staying home from work maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. Myself and my supervisor had gotten extremely sick and stayed home from work. And ironically, the week that we were supposed to come back was the week that everything had gotten shut down, right? I have this conversation with so many people because so many people say the same exact thing that I say, that, you know, I think maybe I did have it, or I do remember getting really, really sick last February, the beginning of March, before everything shut down. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think I may have been one of those people. So I should probably get an antibodies test, but you know, that'll be coming up soon, because I've had plenty of COVID tests, but I have not had an antibodies test. So I do think I am going to get one of those pretty soon, everybody. But again, we're almost a year in. Everything shut down as of March. You know, how are you doing? How have you managed? How have you maintained? Has it been major loss? You guys talk to me. Has it been major loss? Are you okay? Were you thriving? There have been a lot of people. I know we talk about the loss aspect of things, but there has been a lot of people who have thrived, who have started businesses, who have purchased homes, who have gotten married, who have had children. all kinds of accomplishments, all kinds of life changes in the positive and in a good direction throughout this time period. So, you guys, let me know how you feel. I personally, we've had ups, we've had downs here in my family, but we are maintaining and we are doing well. Everybody is still healthy at the moment by grace and mercy. That's what I believe in. And we are still here. I'm still here, able to talk to you. I'm still doing a show, whether I'm in studio or whether I'm right here in my home office. As you guys can see, this was one of the changes, not being in the regular office and not being in the regular studio, but being here in my home office. So that was definitely one of the changes. And, that's just to stay safe. It's just to stay safe. And hopefully you guys are staying safe as well. But I always start the show, normally just checking in on everybody, doing a quick check-in, to make sure everyone is okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with our guest, who is going to be coming on in a few minutes, is mental and emotional health. Last week, we talked about love and relationships and celebrating whether you're single or in a relationship or dating or whatever it is, because, Love Day doesn't have to just be with a partner. It could be if you're single or if you're by yourself too. It's just making sure you focus on the love. And sometimes that is the love for yourself if you don't have a partner or if you don't have a spouse. But for those that do, of course, you show love every day, but this is just one special day in particular where you're able to just do a little more, maybe something a little extra that you don't get a chance to do on a daily basis. So that day was for you. So last week we had a chance to speak to our amazing relationship coach, Trev. I'm sure you guys know Trev Scott. We've had him on the show for the last, 4 or 5 years. He wrote the book about never settling and about your love blueprint. And we absolutely love when he's on the show. So last week was all about love. But this week in particular, I did want to delve into your mental and emotional health at this particular time. And we are going to have Dr. Hardy, who is going to be coming in with us. But I want to know, how have we been able, for those of us who have been able to maintain, how are you doing it? Have you adopted anything new? Have you adopted any new rituals in your daily life, in your daily routine? Are you meditating more? Are you praying more? Is it, what are you doing? Are you journaling more? Are you taking more me time? Is your family time your therapy? Maybe you never thought that would happen. Maybe you thought you needed more time away from people than you really do. Maybe you need people more than you really do. I don't know. I want to know how you're maintaining. I want to know how you're making it through, and mentally and emotionally, how are you sustaining? Or has this time period been a complete drain on you, a drain on your family, a drain on your finances, a drain on your relationships? Has this been the worst thing ever? Has it torn you apart? Has it been too much stress? I think we're so used to, and especially our people, I think we're so used to dealing with stress. And I think we're so used to being in toxic environments and with toxic relationships that a lot of times we just take it on the chin and keep moving. But what we fail to realize, most of us, what we fail to realize is the fact that stress weighs on you. It weighs on your health, and not just your mental health, but it weighs on you physically. So many of us, especially African-American women, die from heart disease. I believe heart disease is the number one killer for African-American women. I think, AIDS being number 2, and then you go into cancer, but heart disease is up there. And what we fail to realize is, aside from our diet and diet is also based off of your mental and emotional health, but we'll come back to that. But stress is a number one killer in all of us. And this year for most of us was probably one of the most stressful years in our lifetimes. We need tips and we need tools to be able to deal with that, right? And whatever it is that we have devised to be able to cope, you know, we need to focus on that a little more. I spoke on your eating habits, and I spoke on that pertaining to heart disease as well, because how many of us, when we're stressed out, immediately go for the foods full of sugar, immediately go for carbohydrates? Am I the only one? I doubt it. It's rare that most people are saying to themselves, I'm so stressed out over this job, or I'm so stressed out over my spouse, or I'm so stressed out over my children or finances or whatever it is, I'm going to go and have a nice, healthy salad. No. It's rare that people say that. And you know what? If you that 1% in the 99, kudos to you for doing that. I know that I'm not one of them. For me, as a part of celebration, and as a part of stress eating, or as a part of relax, relate, release, it is, I am going to have that drink, the one with all the calories, or another drink, an extra drink along with the one I just had. Or I am going to eat that chocolate, or I am going to treat myself to these French fries, or to this cake, or these cupcakes, or that brownie, or whatever it is. So a lot of us at this time have put on weight because it's stress eating, which obviously contributes to heart disease. So it's the stress, it's the diet, it's all the things that we're not doing the right way, you know, and we need to adopt habits. So I have people who are talking to me now. So Trish says, as you're asking the questions, I'm sitting here thinking that I haven't thought about it. I just keep moving. And you know what, Trish? And I'm not going to, this is no slight to our men at all. But unfortunately, as women, as mothers, as wives, this is just what we do, whether it's to our detriment or not, whether it contributes to poor health or not. We just do that. We just keep going. We go through the motions. A lot of times we don't stop and think about all we're doing, or all we've done, or all we have to do, until something literally stops us. And unfortunately for us, it's our health that will stop us and make us sit down, or you know, any of those things. So many of us have nervous breakdowns. So many of us have heart attacks, strokes. All of that is derived from stress. And we don't realize that we're just going without taking a break. So thank you, Trish. Thank you for commenting and saying that, because a lot of us have been doing that too. For some of us, we are taking this time to reflect and taking this time to just go through. But for the rest of us, a lot of us are just focused on getting it done and focused on making sure everyone else is okay, right? How many of you do that? How many of you want to make sure that everybody else is okay before taking care of yourself? Not realizing that if you don't take care of yourself, it doesn't matter if everyone else is okay or not, because now something's wrong with you and you can't help them even if you want to, right? So Lynn said, meditation, prayer, reading, working out, being intentional with what I am allowing into my mental space. You know what, girl? Kudos to you for that. If my partner was here, we talked about at the beginning of this year, we talked about intentionality, right? We talked about what is your motivation behind what it is that you are doing, right? When do you stop and think about what you're thinking about? When do you stop and think about all of the things that it is you're doing? What is your intent behind these things? What is your intent behind these thoughts? And sometimes we have to check our intentions and our motivation behind why we keep moving, and why we keep focusing on others, and why we keep dwelling on negative, and why we, again, we're going to get into all of this when Dr. Hardy, because she is the professional and clearly I am not. I'm just talking about it. But we are going to get into all of that as she comes on the show, and I'm going to introduce her in a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Meditation and prayer and reading, and it sounds cliche, right? You know, I'm a woman of a certain age, you know, and it always sounds so cliche when people used to say, my ex-mother-in-law used to say, take it light. Take it light. You know, when you're 21 years old, 22 years old, 25 years old, 27 years old, and someone says, oh, take it light, you know, that's just a saying that you figure, oh, okay. Older people say, oh, okay, you know, take it light and keep moving. But as I got older and as life happened and as life continued to happen and as life continued to have its will and have its way with me, I started recognizing what take it light really meant. You know, you can't stress over everything. You can't try to fix everything. Am I the only one? Is it me that had that revelation one day? Take it light meant so much more than the words as they were said to me 20 some odd, you know, years ago, right? Antoine said, your body will naturally sit you down if you are not resting properly. You have to preserve yourself mentally and physically. And you are 1,000% right. That goes right back into what Lynn was saying about meditation and prayer and focusing on what's really important, meaning, you know, your spirituality, if that's who you are, that first, and then you are just as important as the people that you are trying to take care of, whether it's your parents, your children, your spouse, whomever else is in your life, friends, the people on your job, making sure that that's okay and all of that is in place. You are just as important as them. And maybe they have you to take care of them. But what if you don't have someone else to take care of you? Then what happens? Then you're constantly pouring from this empty cup because you're constantly pouring yourself out to everyone else, and then no one is pouring back into you. So, you know, my friends and I have this saying where we always talk about too many withdrawals and not enough deposits, right? So anytime you are in any kind of relationship or any kind of situation or circumstances in life where there's way too many withdrawals and your withdrawals and your deposits are not matching and there's too much being taken away from you, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, just too much being taken from you and not enough being poured into you, that's not balance. And then you're going to find that you're going to start to tip these scales. And that's how we get into unhealthy patterns. That is how we get into unhealthy and negative thoughts. That is how we begin to deplete ourselves, our natural resources, which are joy, which are our happiness, which is our health, which is our balance, which is just being emotionally and mentally sane, right? You know, that is we begin to deplete those things when there's too many withdrawals and not enough deposits. And we don't want to do that to ourselves, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to age ourselves faster or again have any kind of illnesses, because stress comes from dis-ease. That is where disease comes from. It's dis-ease, and it all starts with stress. It all starts with stress. So we are definitely going to talk about it a little bit tonight. And for the month of March, again, no slight to the fellas, but the month of March is Women's History Month. So I am going to take the liberty to have female guests on the show all month long. And also we will be letting you all know the date of our women's discussion, which is going to be about the mental and emotional state of Black women. That is going to be good. The mental and emotional state of Black women. Why do we want to have this discussion? Well, For some of us, that may be obvious, but for others, Black women have historically have done so much, right? This last year alone, with what has gone on in Georgia, having a vice president that is a woman of color, just all the fights and all the accomplishments that we've had a number of sisters that have done so much. And those are the ones who are noteworthy. Those are the ones who have done things on a grand scale. And that is not to not include the ones who are doing things that's not seen by the masses. But, as you can see on social media, that we have some of our sisters that are still struggling immensely. We reported on, what was this, 2 weeks ago? We reported on the alleged case with T.I. and the countless women who accused him of sexual abuse and said that they were being drugged and brought into these sexual relationships with him or him and his wife, and they were drugged beforehand. And all of this is alleged because, we have not found this to be true. A few of the ladies, when telling their stories, mentioned this had happened to them multiple times, which led us to ask the question, if you knew you were drugged the first time and something wasn't right, what made you go back the second and the third time? Something more is going on with it, right? Like I said, talk to me. You guys let me know. I'm reading your comments from the chat. Talk to me, let me know. Clearly something more has to be going on with that mentally and emotionally, that you felt like you were drugged and brought into being a victim in a sexual situation the first time. But as a woman, as a grown woman, voluntarily going, you went back a second and a third time. So we just wanted to discuss it all. Everything across the spectrum, from situations like that or worse, to Kamala, Miss Harris being the vice president, to Stacey Abrams, to Keisha Lance Bottoms, to Tamika Mallory, to all of those great and small, to all of those who were doing things in the limelight and all of those who were doing things behind the scenes. We definitely want to discuss the mental and emotional state. And again, we are going to touch on a number of topics. We are going to touch on those who are holding things down on their own, those who are in marriages, who are doing their part as a partner. We're even going to talk about, the whole, whether we wanted to talk about it or not, it's a part of our culture, this bitter baby mama culture. Because as much as we just want to say, it's men not doing this and men not doing that, we know these women. Don't send me hate mail, but we know these women. We know these women that are out to make his life, whether it's the baby daddy or the ex-husband or whatever, out to make his life a living hell because he's not with you. Holding him back from children because he's not with you. Because he's moved on and you didn't want him to move on. So now you feel like it's your duty in life to make his a living hell. As much as we don't want to talk about it, as much as we want to say, well, what did he do first? We know these women and we have to address it. We can't talk about the mental and emotional state of us if we don't address all of it. From, again, Kamala, Stacey, Tamika, to women who are doing this. And again, this isn't to point fingers, and this isn't to say you are doing wrong, but this is to try to get to the core of why some of us are making the decisions that we are making. Why some of us are feeling the way we are feeling. Is this something for the masses, or is this just an individual insecurity? Is this trauma? What is it? What is it? And how can we heal? And how can we move forward? And how can we all get to the space where we feel as though we're doing something great, or feel that we have healed and moved on to live productive lives, where we don't have to continue to go through, what we've been going through, whether we're torturing ourselves or just putting ourselves in the craziest of situations, right? So again, this women's discussion is going to run the gamut. For some people, it's not going to be comfortable, and for others, it will be a space where we can vent, be ourselves, get some clarity, help another sister out. As my partner Queen B would say, fix another woman's crown. You know what I mean? So again, this is not to point fingers and not to say who's doing what wrong, but it literally is to help. So again, that is coming up. That is coming up in March, and that will be during Women's History Month. We will let you guys know the date. You guys will be able to get the link from Eventbrite. So we will be sending that out soon, and there'll be advertisement for that soon. But in the meantime, every Tuesday in March is going to be dedicated to women who are doing something. I don't care what it is. I don't care what's going on. All of our guests for the month of March will be women. So please look out for that and make sure you stay tuned for that. And then, fellas, we'll come back in April and we'll have you back on and we'll talk about what you're doing too, because we need you. We are not us without you. We need you too. It's just so happened that for the month of March, it's just about the ladies. So you guys make sure you stay tuned for that. So I've been talking about this my guest who is coming up for the last half an hour. Amazing woman. If you have watched BKS1 Radio or the OWL Show for the last, I don't know how many years we've been on, Dr. Hardy was on the panel with us on a weekly basis at one period of time. Her life led her to do greater things where she had to prioritize her schedule and fit in what she could when she can. She's doing amazing things. She is a professor. She is a therapist. She is a life coach. She is an author. She is my therapist, one of my mentors, and I absolutely love her. She's a speaker. She spoke at our women's conference that we had, which was the Freedom to Be Yourself, the Courage to Live, the OWL Show Women's Conference. She was a keynote speaker, and I am very happy to have her with us tonight to talk about health and wellness at such an important time in history. Help me welcome to the show, Jeff, if you can please bring on camera Dr. Cheryl Hardy if she is in the waiting room. So, is she here? Are we here? Let me know. Let me know. In the meantime, okay, well, while we're waiting, hold on. Let me just make sure we know. I'll just let her know. Bringing you on now. Trying to do this is multitasking. This is my life, everybody. So while we are waiting for Dr. Hardy to come on, I want to go back to my guests who are in the chat right now. I want to know your thoughts. So of course, we're going to be looking for some major topics to discuss in the women's discussion. So I want to know, what do you guys think? So of course, we're going to be talking about those who have achieved all of these major goals. And then we're going to be talking about, the mental and emotional state of those who continue to make decisions that aren't serving them. So I want to know, from everybody who is watching in the chat right now, just let me know a little bit about additional topics so that you think are important or imperative to us as Black women. So again, we talked about the whole bitter baby mama. We talked about, relationships and marriage, and because all of this is a part of your mental and your emotional well-being. So let me know, what are some topics that you guys think that we should also be discussing? And for the gentlemen who are watching right now, you guys too can go ahead and put in the chat, and I'll go ahead and read it. What are some topics that you feel like, as your sisters, as your women, as your ladies, as your other half, what are some topics that you feel like we should be discussing? Something that maybe you're seeing that a lot of us are doing, and maybe we don't know. Maybe as a group, we don't know. Maybe this demographic of African American women, 20 to 40, 20 to 50, maybe there's something that you guys are seeing that we all do, and we don't know it. And maybe it's something that we should work on, because maybe it'll help us as a people. I'm sure as women, we have a bunch of topics that we can say to our men. But what do you guys think? Breaking generational behaviors. Thank you so much, Lynn. Breaking generational behaviors. I'm writing that. You know what? You see this pen here? I'm writing that one down. That is definitely going to be a topic. Thank you so much for that. And she is here.
Hello. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. I can see you. You look good. Your hair is pretty. Your glasses are sharp. I absolutely love them.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You are family. You are family.
Yes.
You're family. Welcome. So Queen Bee is traveling the world tonight.
Oh.
So unfortunately, she is not going to be here with us in this discussion, but you still got me. I'm here.
So, yes. You look absolutely fabulous.
Really? Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is my spruce up just to go in the home office, This is one of those things where it's like, well, you don't see me from the waist down, so.
That's good.
So how are you, Dr. Hardy? How are you?
I am doing good. Managing, we're all going through the same thing. So I'm pretty much, managing, doing good.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain about.
Good.
Yes.
That is good. That is awesome. So I've been talking with our guests right now, and I was telling them that this was kind of going to be the precursor to the women's discussion that we're going to be scheduling for next month. And we were going to be discussing at length, so it will be multiple conversations, the mental and emotional state of us as Black women, African American women. And we were just discussing, those women who it seems have reached these amazing goals. So, Kamala Harris being in the White House, Stacey Abrams, shifting an entire state, Tamika Mallory, on the front lines with the protests and the second pandemic, being race and while all of that is happening, we have the sisters who are on social media in not the best light. Maybe not making the best decisions, and we're running the gamut of emotions and just where are we? What are your thoughts, just top level, on the mental and emotional state of Black women right now?
I think, like you said, I think we're at our highest peak as far as hitting, as breaking those glass ceilings, and moving forward and getting great positions. Like, come on now, vice president, African American as a vice president, and then we also have a lot of presidents of companies and of people, business owners, we have more business owners since the pandemic than ever because people realize they have no choice. So let me just move forward. But like you said, then you have the other ones on the other spectrum that's really struggling with the emotional state. A lot of those childhood traumas probably springing back up now, especially while we're in the pandemic and we're on lockdown. I say it's like we're in prison, but we're on lockdown. And some of those old feelings and those old habits start coming up because you have no way to escape because you're doing everything at home. You're exercising at home, you're cooking, you're cleaning, everything in school, your children, everything is at home. So you have no way to escape. You're losing some of those social skills and that social connection. So in a lot of ways, we're losing ourselves. So we have to figure out a way to bring in some self-love and some self-care. But on that emotional state, it is very, for some people. Now, for some people, they're doing better because they're learning how to sit still and they're rediscovering themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people are spiraling down and they losing themselves.
Yeah.
So it is like you said, it's a huge swing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I literally just wrote this down as you were saying it because I'm always jotting down notes every time you talk. Social skills you mentioned. It's crazy because prior to the pandemic, we were always talking about social skills, right? So we were always talking about you need to get out and people don't talk face to face anymore. People don't even know how to be in groups anymore. Everyone is on their cell phones when they come together for dinner. Everyone's at a party looking down, at a phone and we don't even have those same social skills anymore. On the other side of this, how do we get back? We were losing it before. How do we get back to?
That's a good question because it's a different perspective now because it's almost like it's all swiped away. So when we were having social skills, when we were at the studio connecting with each other, sitting next to each other, laughing, and now we're through the screen, it's a totally different. So now you're at the place that you appreciate what you did have.
Yeah.
Because you don't have it at all now. Mm-hmm. And so the best way to have those social skills, those connection is meeting at the park, going hiking, having those those Zoom parties, but it's not the same. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be the same for a while. We hear it a new norm. It is a new norm for sure. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the same for a long time.
Yeah.
And so now we have to pivot. We have to swing like the boxer. When all this is coming at you, now you're going to have to shift and duck and kind of move to the side and try to place your feet and reposition yourself. I call it the rereads. Reset, reboot, revive, reconnect, rebuild. We got to do all those rereads to bring ourselves back to our own personal norm, whatever your norm is. Some people might not ever reach it, but for the most part, I think things are going to start looking better in the next year, but we got to have patience.
Yeah. What are you finding? Again, I told everyone, I'm like, Dr. Hardy is an author. She's a doctor. She's a professor. She's a therapist. She's a coach. She's a mentor. She's all of these things. What are you seeing that people are doing to be able to maintain? So what are some things that people are putting in place? Because I'm sure you get it all the time. Like, I'm losing my mind. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't figure. So what are some of the things that you either advise for people to put in place, or what are some things you're noticing that people are putting in place to be able to maintain?
Practicing self-love, doing self-care, having family gatherings, going back to the old time, playing board games, Monopoly, checkers, charades, going in the backyard doing double dutch when it's not snowing, And we are doing all these different things now that we used to do and didn't think about it because technology is a wonderful thing, but sometimes it takes you out of that connection with family. So I see more family connection.
Mm-hmm.
I see more families having birthday parties together, and the people that's in the same house, they are having more family discussions. People are learning their spouses in new ways and their partners. They're learning them because we'll go, I'll catch you when I come back. We're going to drop me off here, pick me up. They're learning. It's probably going to be a new baby boomer in 20.
Probably so. Yeah.
21 and 22. Yeah. So people are connecting in a different way because they, and just like I said, self-love. Self-love is the biggest thing. Taking care of yourself, long showers, long baths, doing your nails, pedicure, doing your hair, reading. I noticed a lot of people are reading more now. A lot of things that were so simple that we passed by, I see people doing more of it now, especially, seeing clients, they are so overwhelmed with just dealing with personalities. And with self-love, you have to deal with yourself first, because the longest relationship that you have in life is with you.
Yes. Yes.
The longest relationship. So when you get along with you, when you're in another relationship with, no matter what it is, mom, daughter, spouse, partner, your relationship is better. Because when you know you and that person is learning you, and when you know you, you can work around that person when they don't know themselves. Woo! So those are the things, those little things, little techniques that we have to learn. Like some people, they struggle with life and they are not emotionally there yet. And a lot of times you just got to work around it to keep the relationship going, because the arguing and the bickering and the falling apart and trying to teach people, teaching an adult new strategies can be challenging. So yeah. So the longest relationship you have is with yourself. So you might as well get along with yourself and just love everything about you, and what you don't like, just work on it.
And how does one do that? So for somebody that's struggling now, so we want, in talking about the mental and emotional state of Black women, and and like you said, there are the women that are still making a lot of these decisions that aren't necessarily serving them, and in teaching people how to love themselves more. How do you go about doing that? Like, what would you say to someone that said, you know what, Dr. Hardy, I don't have a high self-esteem. I don't feel the greatest about myself. What do you say to someone who says that? How
do I start, right? That's a great question. First of all, I would say, where did that come from? When did it start? And when did that feeling first happen that you recognize it? Whether it was 7, 9, 22, 30, when did you recognize you had that feeling that you felt insignificant and your self-esteem is low and you feel like you're lost in this world? So now from there, let's start unpacking.
Yeah.
Did you start feeling that at home with your mom, with your dad, in school, with your stepfather, stepmother, with friends? And then we'll go from there. And then did the feeling keep snowballing? Did everybody that you meet, did you have a problem with connecting with them because you felt insignificant? Right? And then we just keep going from there, because we need to keep unpacking until we just load off all that stuff so we can start healing. And one thing I realized in our community, and it's in every community, but mostly in African Americans, we don't like to feel. And when it comes to feeling, we'll run from it. We'll overwork ourselves so we won't feel. But in order for you to heal, you need to feel, deal, and heal. You need to feel the pain. It's going to hurt sometimes. You got to go through it like grief. Grief go through you and you go through it. You got to feel it. And then after that, you start dealing with it. You go back and forth. You feel it, deal, feel, deal. And then after a while, and your while can be whenever, because we don't put time limits on healing. And then you get to that point that you heal. And it's a lot of people that's hurting. And we always hear that saying, hurt people, but heal people. And heal people look at life different than a hurt person.
Yes. You're right.
They see life, they're very optimistic. They look at life in a different way. They look at life, that's what I like about Norm. He looks at life like different. You always try to God. And here go, we got this.
always try to find the yes,
Yes.
No matter what's going on in life, try to find the yes, try to find the way. What's the way? Where is the way so that we can get this done?
And when I think about Norm, I think about the counseling, the solution-focused counseling. You come in with the problem. Now, how are we going to get the answer? So we focusing on the answer. We're not going to focus on the problem. You have the problem. So we're going to unpack the problem. Now, what's the answer so you can heal?
Yes. Oh, Queen B, she must have a signal wherever she is. So she just put in the chat hello. So hey, Queen B,
hey, I love her.
I'm holding it down, partner. I'm holding it down for us. And Norm is also in the chat. So hey, Norm, we were just talking about you. So hopefully you saw that. But yes, like you said, healed people can heal people because they have a different outlook on life. And again, that positivity and always not again, you can acknowledge that you have the problem. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you have the problem, no matter how ongoing the problem is. But you have to get to a point where you are focused on, well, how do I get out of this? Or how do I begin to shift and change this? Or if I can't change it, then
it's okay, because it's okay not to be okay. It's okay. You don't have to try to fix everything because it's called humanistic, human. You're human. And some things that you just can't fix, what do? You let it go. And a lot of times we, as especially women, we do not let go. You have a bad relationship and you just think about it, and it's just let it go. And then how do I let it go? That's where we go back to unpacking again. Do you want to be free? This is your life. Time is non-refundable. So let's see what we can do with your time, because you're not getting it. If you've been with somebody for 10 years and it didn't work out, you're not getting those 10 years back. So what did you learn from those 10 years and how can we move forward? Because this is your life and your journey, and so your life is so important. And so that's what we don't want to keep holding on to stuff. And then what it does is it make you sick to your stomach.
That's what we just talked about before. That's what we talked about before you came on. Stress makes you physically sick.
Yes.
It makes you physically sick. Disease. Yes. It disease. Oh, I love that. Do you want to be free?
Do you want to be free? And that's your choice. You have the right to live your best life. Not to say it, but to actually do it, to live your best life. And sometimes you have to tell the person that you're connected with, I understand your struggle, but I hear what you're saying. But right now, I'm going to live my best life, and I'm not going to try. I'm not attacking you, love you, but I have to still live my best life. So important. Just like I said, the longest relationship you're going to have is with yourself.
Right. And I hear everything you're saying. I feel like I want a Dr. Hardy line of t-shirts that says, do you want to be free? Do you want to be free? Because again, being free does not mean that everything in your life is going to be perfect. And it does not mean that everything in your life is going to work out, but you have the freedom from being bogged down and tied down to whatever the problem or problems are. You don't have to marry that problem.
Oh God. You don't. And at my age, 6 decades. At my age, my goal is, and my prayer is that the young folks get it so they can live a better life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to, your 20s you're learning, your 30s you're exploring, your 40s you want to start getting it now. 50s you should have, this is a half of the century now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And certain things you just want to get, you just don't want to do that same struggle over and over and over. It is not fair to your health, your heart, your mind. It is just not. And so a lot of times I see people just doing the same thing over and over, and you want to do it. You always hear that, you do the same thing, you get the same results, but we want to move. And what I realize is that African American women is some of the most brilliant people on the face of this earth. Mm-hmm. Same thing with men. Mm-hmm. And if you sit down and hold a conversation, you're looking at them. Do you know what you just said? What you just said is brilliant.
Right.
What you gonna do with it?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about the t-shirt line after the show, or just we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
Because you gotta be free. We can't be all bound up now, especially now. Yeah. We have to work on a different strategy now.
Yeah,
because we already experienced being bound with the pandemic. So now, how are we going to be free? How are we going to walk out of this? How are we going to work out of this? Because that's how important you are. Mm-hmm. We are amazing. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We supposed to be at the top. We're not the tail. We're not a doormat, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to live up to. That we have to stand. Michelle said we got to go high. We need to just step high, because it's us. We need it.
Yeah. So let me ask you, with all that you do, what are some of the issues that you're seeing are trending? Some things that maybe we don't know that people are going through, that this pandemic is causing, that, for the rest of us, it's just, stress and we're maintaining, but you're noticing a lot of people are suffering from
anxiety. Anxiety all-time high. Anxiety is the fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, and so your world is shaking. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you're having those little panic attacks. Your chest is getting tight. You're getting nervous. Anxiety is like the all-time high from my 16-year-old that I see all the way to my 80-year-old. Just that fear of the unknown. And so we're working on, like when I'm doing sessions, we're working on some of the ways to fight anxiety, and we're doing journaling. Get the thoughts out of your head and put it on paper. And if you have nosy people in your house, put it on a legal pad and read it, and then tear it up and then burn it.
Yeah.
But get those thoughts out of your body, get it out of your head, and put it on paper. Now, dancing. When you're dancing, you're feeling. We're going back to free. When you're dancing, you feel no pain. People laugh at me, like I said, around 10 o'clock every night, I do the electric slide before I go to bed because it makes me feel good, right? And I'm getting that exercise in, even though I do a little bit more in the morning, but getting that exercise, that's working on that anxiety. What you feel when you feel that moment of anxiety, the pain, that being that fearful, address it. What does make you feel fearful? If it's a person or a place or a thought, you want to work around it and then not fall into that trap. So yeah, that's the part right now is the anxiety. And I think that's because of the pandemic, loss of jobs, loss of family members, that's number one is anxiety. Number two is grief. Grief is hitting those two is an all-time high with all the losses.
Yeah. Okay. All right. With anxiety, is it as, and I don't want to try to simplify it. I don't want to say, is it as simple as unpacking, but what are some other techniques other than the therapy and unpacking that people can do? So for somebody who's watching now, who doesn't necessarily have a therapist, but they're saying, I feel the exact same way on a daily basis, or I feel it like it's a heaviness in my chest that I'm feeling when I wake up in the morning, and I feel it at all times. What is something that they can do to try to relieve that feeling?
Exercise. Things to exercise. Breathing is really, folks when they have an anxiety, they will not breathe. They're like, oh, okay, and they breathe in short. You need to breathe in and out a lot, like in, out, at least 5 times. Take a break and then in and out. So those are the main two. And your diet, hydrate, because if you're not hydrated, because if you don't drink enough water and you're getting cramps in your toes and your calves, that's because you're not drinking enough water. So hydrate, breathing, and exercise, and journaling. You gotta talk about those. Even when you're not with a therapist, you need to put those issues of concerns out. You got to get it out. And also self-help books are good.
Mm-hmm.
A good self-help book on anxiety. Coloring books. Sometimes just coloring help ease that. Listening to it's a lot of apps out here too. Listening to those waterfall, that is very good for anxiety. And candles, burning candles, and incense. It helps reduce anxiety, and you got to do it constantly. Some people say to me, "I did that already." How many times you did it? Oh, I did it last week. Oh, do it every other day. Do something every other day. You have a choice. So that would help.
So I want to shift gears a bit. So again, that is dealing with, someone who may be struggling during this time period or struggling with their mental health or feelings or emotions. But for those who are maintaining and are like, oh, okay, I feel like, things are going okay. And maybe now they're filled with a bunch of ideas. And, and now this time period is, I want to do this. I want to do that. How do I do this? How can I do that? What advice would you have for that person that now, because they've had nothing but time to sit back and think, and now they have 72 different things that they want to do, but they haven't done any of them yet? What advice do you have for someone like that?
I would say to them to join a group. And join a group, because when you join a group, even a 12-step program group, it will help motivate you to push forward. Now because some people are doing better since they've been sitting still. They have that time. Some people, because you're not buying coffee every day and spending gas money, and you don't have to buy clothes, and some people bank accounts have really started moving up pretty decent. So in that case, that's when you need to try to do that. Creativity is coming out. Start working on it, and also get somebody to help you. So if you need a coach, if you need a therapist, if you need a good friend, just have somebody to help you. Some people are even hiring somebody to come and clean their house like once every 2 weeks or once a month. Those things are good. I think asking for help so you can work on your creativity, because if you want to work on that book, work on that book. If you want to work on your body, work on your body. If you want to, anything that you want to work on and you have the time, now it's time for you to budget that time, just like you would budget money. What would I do between 7 in the morning to 7 at night? Have your schedule. And if it doesn't work out that day, just forget it. Go to the next day. Go to the next schedule. And I often say to people, try not to have more than 3 things on your to-do list. Don't have 10 things on your to-do list, because that's overwhelming. Now, if you have 10 things and you want to accomplish it in a week, that's fine. But do things in threes because your brain works better in threes. You know, research based. You know, just think about it. When you learn in grade school, and what do? They learn in threes: the three blind mice, the three stooges, the three little pigs, right?
Yeah.
The three bears. You see what I'm saying? Three. The traffic light, three. Someone is if you're pregnant, 3 trimesters, right?
Yeah.
Jesus died and rose on the 3rd day. And about you see what I'm saying? The 3 works really well. So if you need to do something in your house, do it in threes. Don't try to clean the whole house. I'll just do a little bit in the kitchen, a little bit in the living room, wipe over the bathroom. That's 3. Call it a day. If you want to write your book, have a plan, put it in threes, call it a day. If you're in school, if you study in threes, you will always get an A. Because if you do too much at one time, so if your teacher said they want you to read 10 chapters, read 3 chapters and think about it, relax. Then the next 3, then relax. Then the next 3. And when you do that, it works out better because we teach our babies in threes. And one thing about us as adults, the things that we used to do when we was a child, we stopped doing it.
Right.
Children, you ever watch children? They be so upset. And then they start rocking themselves. Guess what they doing? They self-soothing. We stopped self-soothing. We just stopped. And so we can soothe ourselves. You can sit down and tell yourself, it's going to be all right. I love you. Hang in there. Give yourself that self-talk and that affirmation. I'm good. You're so beautiful. Hang in there. Tomorrow will be better. It's called self-soothing. We stop when we do that, when we become adults. But
Why
babies
is
know how to do it. They'll suck their thumb, they'll rob until they fall asleep and relax. And then there's another day. We supposed to, because when we get older, we have so many responsibilities and we do so much until we just leave ourselves out the equation. We don't do that self-love and self-soothing and self-nurturing and self-talking. We just stop. And so I tell my clients to do that. I say, soothe yourself. They're like, how do I soothe myself? Suck your bottle. It's so good to drink.
Right.
Sit in the chair and rock and look at a good movie. Soothe yourself.
You know, it is so funny. I loved my rocking chair when my babies were younger. I think I loved the rocking aspect more than the babies did. But the fact that I could just sit in that chair and I would rock, it seemed like for hours. Children had been asleep and I'm still holding them and I'm still rocking. And it came to a point where, am I rocking them or am I rocking me? What am I doing right now? But whatever it is, it's making me feel better right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing it. So you're right. We stop doing that as we get older.
We stop. We think we don't deserve it. I don't have time for that. Yeah, you do have time to take care of yourself. You do have time to self-soothe. You do have time to tell yourself that you're great. You're not conceited. You're wonderful. You are great. You do have time to say, I love my body. You have time. Trust me. If you don't say you love your body, let something happen to you. I bet you 10 people be waiting for your organs. One kidney, another kidney, your eyes, your cornea. You know, it's a whole list waiting for your lungs.
Yeah.
So you are worth it. Trust me.
Yeah. No, I'm speechless. I'm speechless because I never thought about it like that. And you know, it's not only that. I think a lot of us feel like we're being conceited. A lot of us see self-talk, especially in our community, you know, where we have the stigma about therapy. You know, a lot of us see, and I don't know where we get this from, and maybe you can help me because I'm talking this out, what's going on in my head as I'm saying it to you. But it seems like in our community, in our culture, a lot of us see things like therapy and self-soothing as a weakness almost. It's almost like, well, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. I don't need to tell myself I'm great. I know that already. I'm fine. And when your actions are saying, you know, the opposite, and it's the same thing with therapy. I don't need therapy. I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't need to tell everybody my business and I don't need to do this and you're so bogged down with life's issues that you can't even take it, but you refuse to talk to somebody. It's like, why is that in our culture, male or female, that we tend to do that? Not only can we not talk to anybody else, but we won't even soothe ourselves when things are going on in life. Why is that?
We are so hard on ourselves as African American, and it started from slavery. You know, we was keeping it. We had to keep secrets because we didn't want to get in trouble. But isn't it strange how that transgenerational behavior filtered on down to now? Yeah. And so we have to stop that generational pattern. Yeah. Because that's a generational pattern that don't tell nobody. I don't nobody need to know my business, and you know, and you're just covering up stuff, and your uncle is your father, and all this stuff that just come out. You know, it comes out in therapy sometime, and I'm like, wait, what? Oh, wait, repeat that. Did you have a conversation with your children?
Well, let's go back. What happened now?
I said people just keep doing things and they don't share their history. Yeah. And then when we become adults, you're my age, and then you realize your uncle is your father. Mm-hmm. You know, and because they never said anything. And that is one of the work. We need to know our history. We need to know how many people died with diabetes, how many people died with high blood pressure, who had cancer. You need to pass that down. We need to know our personal history, you know, and who's this person and who's that person, who's related. You need to know. It's so important because I remember my granddaughter was born. She didn't walk till she was around two and a half. We was like, what in the world? That's a long time. And so we started digging in the family history. And so my husband asked my mother-in-law, she said, oh, you know, they call it rickets then, rickets. She said, I had rickets she said, I didn't walk till I was 2.5. We was like, so we told the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said, good to know. And he said, I'm going to give her some calcium and some vitamin D. I want her to take it every day, some days twice a day. Within 2 weeks, she was walking.
It was genetics.
It was genetic. And she needed that extra calcium and that vitamin D
build up her bones.
Strengthen her bones.
Yeah.
But we hadn't had that conversation. Yeah.
You wouldn't have known.
We wouldn't have known. And so we gotta talk. We gotta have that conversation. You know, what did you have when you were small? Write a journal. I tell all my family to have a legacy journal. Ask questions from the oldest person in your family. Ask a lot of questions and write it down. Mm-hmm. Or tape them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in the age of technology where you can definitely do that, you know?
Yeah, get that information. And so your children could be healthier. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, how do we spend money as a family? Mm-hmm. What properties do our family own? Mm-hmm. You realize everybody is gone, and we have 100 acres, and
I literally had this conversation with my boys 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I literally had this conversation with my children. I said, I have to take you here. We own property here. I need to take you here to see this. We own property over here. I need to take you here to see. I literally had this conversation with them. And I'm like, there's a lot of road trips that we need to go on to see certain things. Yeah.
Yes. Get the paperwork in order. Ask the questions. Get copies. Put everything in the envelope. Have people to sign off. No, because you can have a summer home. If you have 100 acres in Virginia, make a summer home, make a laundromat, make money, legacy. Let it, you know. One of my family members found out that they had a lot of land in Alabama, and the young folks, the old people, didn't do anything. They made a laundromat. A huge laundromat there. When they left in their will, it was like over 300,000, and they wanted to leave it for their children from a laundromat. I said, wow. because the great grandchildren said they didn't want it, they wanted to sell it, but they had money to.
But
they still had the land.
It's the irony in talking about all of this is that we started off the conversation with healing, right? And so all of this ties into it. So, we were talking about the other day, how sharing is caring. And, and sharing your stories and sharing your journey and sharing what you've been through and sharing whatever's going on, what has happened in the family is caring. Because when you think about, if we're bringing it back to the top here and you think about the mental and emotional states of Black women, and you think about some of the struggles that we're going through, and a lot of the struggle is to make it. A lot of the struggle is to survive. But again, if you had known that your grandfather has 100 acres over here, if you had known that it's in your family lineage that this is where you come from, or this is what your family owns, and you are a part of this too, or you guys were a part of this or that or the other, it can change how someone sees themselves. And it can change that desperation in decision making that I feel like a lot of us tend to make,
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And then we need to have family meetings and include everybody in the meeting.
Yeah.
Because the elderly people have the wisdom, but the young folks have the know-how. So when you have them together, it claps and make a rhythm from your family. And that's how you flow.
Yeah.
And so, because the young folks know about social media and they know how to Google something and get it right away. Well, the elderly people, they know about, what they had and what they have the information. So, so family meetings is so important. I usually say that to all clients. Y'all should have a family meeting. That's my homework assignment for all my clients for this month. For Black History Month, I want everybody to get on a Zoom and have a family history talk. And about 4 of them did it. And I was so excited. Yeah, just have a family history talk. Like, no problems. The rule is nobody gonna mention problems. You're not gonna mention that you don't like Uncle Jed. None of that, right? You're gonna just have a nice family history talk. And just see what comes out of it, from the eldest to the youngest.
That's good. That is really good. That is good advice. And again, like I said, you add everybody into that conversation and you will find a lot of people that, again, have that low self-esteem, or who's out here making decisions that they wouldn't make if they had certain knowledge of self and certain knowledge of their history. They wouldn't be in the positions, some of them would not be in the positions that they're in.
That's right.
I agree with you that is so important. Just off the top of your head, when I started off the show, I was saying we are now a year later. So we started hearing about COVID-19 pretty much a year ago this month. And even though it wasn't heavy, and the guy who was in office at the time kept saying it wasn't a big deal, so you might see it go across your TV screen, but you weren't too worried about it, but we definitely had started hearing about it in the month of February. And so throughout this time period, I just want to know, just off the top of your head, 3 things that you feel like everyone can do or everyone should do to better themselves. I mean, as far as feeling better, or just pouring into yourself, or just trying to rear into a positive direction. Just 3 things off the top of your head that we all can do at this time to feel better.
The first one I would say self-love / self-care. take care of you first and love yourself and take care of yourself. The second one I would say is use your creativity to build financial wealth, because you're sitting on it and you're probably not aware of it. So you need to tap into it. Even if you have to ask a lot of questions, get a financial advisor, Google information. So self-care, self-love, building your financial wealth, right? And do things to stay mentally healthy. And that is sleep, good sleep hygiene, relax, and have fun. Because fun is awesome. When you have fun, you feel no pain.
Right. Sleep, relax, and have fun. Okay, so all right, so those tips. Number 1, self-love, self-care. Number 2, use your creativity to build financial wealth. And 3, do things to stay mentally healthy, including sleep, relaxing, and having fun.
Yes. Because a lot of times when people come to counseling, they say, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm that," and you don't understand. I'm going through this, and then I have them to draw a pie. What is all this stuff on your plate? Everything is on their plate is work related. I'm in this club. I'm in this society. I'm on this board. I got to do this work. So when I'm looking at that pie, and I don't see fun. You got to put some fun in your life.
People don't prioritize fun.
We don't.
They don't prioritize fun.
We got to add it in our life.
I mean, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not one of those people.
You're not. Yeah. You and Queen B is not.
No. I am not one of those people. Let me tell you. I mean, I don't care where I am. I'm going to find the fun in doing something. I walked through Walgreens yesterday and played kickball. Again, don't tell the store manager, but I played kickball in Walgreens yesterday. So I don't care where I am. I'm going to find a way to have fun. But
the other day I put on a raincoat and a hat and boots, and I got in the middle of the block and I danced in the rain. In the middle of the street.
Yes.
My neighbors was peeking. I know they thought it's okay, because you could come out with me. Come on, let's dance. Let's all of us dance.
Dr. Hardy, I never did that. I love that. I love that. I absolutely love that. That is awesome. That is everything. Yeah. So again, I'm not one of these people that doesn't know how to prioritize fun, but I do recognize that people get so bogged down with responsibility, and they get so bogged down with so many people. Life gets in the way of them living life. And it's like, you cannot do that. You have to find some sort of balance, because we're not all just here for just responsibility and work.
It's not. Life is not meant to. It's just not. It's not. No, we're not designed to. If you want to work for all the rest of your life, that's fine. But you just need to learn how to rest. I don't even know how many of my clients take naps. Like, do you take a nap?
Before the show. Look, before the show.
Take naps. Go for a walk. Yeah. Eat your favorite, something that you love, whatever your favorite dinner. Yeah. Eat that once a week or once every 2 weeks. Watch a good Netflix movie. Just get your hair done. Do your nails. Take your time and brush your teeth and then floss it.
Yeah.
Just take your time and don't rush. We just rush. Just enjoy life.
Yes, I gotta do.
Yes. And it's just because once it's over, it's over.
It's over.
And that's why I admire about Cicely Tyson. She enjoyed her life.
Yeah.
enjoyed her life.
Yeah.
She did an interview the day before she passed away.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's hot.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I'll do that.
enjoying
I'll do that.
life.
I'll do that. That sounds like a good way. That sounds great to me.
Yeah, just enjoy her life. And entertainment was her thing. Her parents said, and see, sometimes we have to, as parents, we have to be careful what we tell our children because it'll affect them. Because her mom didn't want her to be an actress.
Yeah, I saw that.
But in her heart, she knew that's what she should have been doing. And that's what we got to go with. I say all that to say, sometimes you have to break the generational pattern and go another way. Because your calling is not the same thing as your family lineage.
Yeah.
If everybody in your family is a lawyer and you're supposed to be an actress, you better be an actress.
You better do what you got to do for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Listen, all right. This was awesome. This was great today. I thoroughly, well, you know, every time I talk to you, I'm always somewhere taking notes and trying to enhance me or do something. So this was awesome today. I absolutely love it. Again, I know we have a lot of work to do, you know, in talking about the mental and emotional state of some of us as Black women, you know. I know there's a lot of work to do. I know there's a lot of issues that we are going to dive into, you know. I mentioned before you got on, you know, one being that whole bitter baby mama saga, you know, trying to heal to be able to move past that, you know, because some of us really are. It's not cliche, you know. It's not something that's not real. It is reality for some of us, you know, and some of the men that deal with that. So, you know, discussing those issues, discussing, as you said, as one of the guests said, breaking those generational curses and making sure that you're able to heal. And, you know, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do in the Black family and Black households and dealing with trauma. And there's a lot of work to do, but I appreciate every single time you come on and we're talking to you, and we are chipping away at it bit by bit, and we're having the tough conversations, and maybe somebody who is listening is saying, I didn't think about it like that, or I never had this discussion with that person, and maybe that would have helped, or maybe that can help, or, you know, whatever it is. I just appreciate you for what it is that you do and who it is that you are and what it is, you know, that you share. So that is a great thing. So
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. You know, we would have
BKS1 family.
I know this is family. This was a family discussion tonight. But again, like I said, we are definitely going to talk about this. This was just the beginning of many conversations, because for the month of March, I'm only having women as guests on the show, because we definitely want to get to the bottom of this, and we want to get to we want to unpack, as you said. We want to unpack all of this. So I want to discuss it every week for our live shows, and then definitely in the discussion that we're going to have towards the end of March, we'll just, you know, have it all in one place with everybody in there too. So, but this was a great kickoff conversation to be able to lead into that for a full month of discussion. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Hardy, for being with us tonight. Any final words for anybody before I let you go?
Yes. Well, first of all, I thank you for having this, and I appreciate you for having this for our beautiful men and women, because somebody is going to get healed. That is our ultimate goal, for us to get healed, and for we're going to move in a good direction. Thank you for having me, and I just pray that our people start unpacking and just start doing a self-assessment and start loving yourself, and just start thinking about what are some of the things that irritate you and what are some of the things that make you happy, and work on those things, because you are so worth it. You're amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hardy.
Thank you.
It is always a pleasure.
Likewise.
All right. So For
tell
everybody
behind the scene, I said hello.
Go ahead. So for everybody that had the pleasure of tuning in tonight, you had just heard just wonderful gems and pearls from Dr. Hardy, and we absolutely love her and everything that she gives and pours into us. We thank you for tuning in. We love you guys for watching. We love you guys for listening. And by the grace of God, we'll be here next week, same time, same place, different topic, hopefully continuing to heal. Thank you so much for tonight. We love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, Dr. Hardy. Jeff, you can take this away.